Hello again. Good, how are you? Yeah, I was gonna see if was it Deanne is here?
Yeah, she just went to lunch though.
She just went to lunch about 5-10 minutes ago. So she should be back probably for the next 30.
30? Okay. Alright.
You gonna be around?
Yeah.
You can take a seat if you want.
Yeah, well I might go see if I can speak to somebody else in the meantime. Who you got? How about Mr. Brett Anderson?
Mr. Who?
Brett Anderson.
Oh, he's not here.
He's not?
Most of the time, mayor in Utah.
Uh-huh. Oh yeah, part-time?
Yeah.
Got you. Okay. Alright. Alright. Well, how about the city attorney?
I haven't never seen him. Let me call him.
Okay.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you. Bye. We don't have a break. The city manager's not here right now, and then the city attorney is at the conference right now. Sorry, we used the wrong time.
Well, who's running? Who's running stuff then? Surely this can't just run itself.
They're just in and out all
They
day.
are. Yeah, they have lots of meetings in general, and then they have to kind of run around the city. So we have a couple city buildings too. They have to work with them too.
Gotcha. Okay. Alright.
Sorry about that.
It's alright. So, yeah, I was. So, how long have y'all been working here?
I think
7 years? Okay.
Yeah, about 5, 6, somewhere out there.
How is it? I mean, I guess you wouldn't be here for 7 years if it wasn't all right.
Working here. Yeah, the citizens are pretty good here too. They like visiting us and talking to us. They're like a regular customers here. Yeah.
Okay. What is it that you like best about your job?
What's the best things about my job?
What do you like? Yeah.
Talking to the citizens most of the time, it really satisfies me. Like helping elderly people too.
Okay.
They like to come here and then pay utilities so they can talk to us. And there are like a couple of them.
They like paying utilities.
They like paying utility and talking to us because we truly care of them.
That's good.
Like there are people. His name is Jeff, and he's kind of like an uncle for me. I feel like it. And we just talk to him, and then he kind of like lending me movies and things like that. I'm like, no, Jeff, I'm okay, but yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
they're
Good deal.
like a bunch of good people, and then there's a Barbara. She always comes here with the candies, and she gives us the candies too.
Yeah.
It's a small community.
So how are the benefits here for being an
Benefits
employee?
pretty good too. Yeah.
Benefits are good?
Yeah. And that really helps for us for being more loyal to the city.
Yeah.
Because I worked for other city who was not taking care of the employee very well before, and with that city, most of people who was really good with what they were doing were quitting and left. Like, oh, they're not paying us well. I'm going to find a different job to who pays me better, you know. But Farmington City I feel like they are to really care about their employee, and that really helps me, like, talking to the citizens and residents, helping them out.
Good deal. Good deal. So does Farmington pay better than other cities, would you say?
That's a good question. That I don't know, but I am satisfied with whatever I am getting.
So then, what do they pay you? What's your salary?
That's a good question because it's kind of public. If you can find it for yourself, would it be great? I kind of feel nervous talking in front of my coworkers.
Well, but it's like I said, it's public record.
It is.
And
you can find it. Just find it for me instead of me saying it in front of my coworkers.
But
it's just a little bit,
I know,
You
but
understand that?
I wish I could say I did.
If it's just me and you, I'll just say it directly. But she's here. I feel really weird. You know that.
Well, but if it was a private employment, I would understand.
You can just.
I just need. I'm just looking to. I'm just trying to get some. I was just hoping that it would be volunteered.
Someone's here to pick me up, so.
Oh, okay.
See you
All
tomorrow.
right.
All right, we'll see you. Have a good night.
Yeah.
So I don't want to have to mark you down as uncooperative. You've been so nice. These are important questions that I have to ask. I just have to.
No, you're good.
So-
Mr. English, do you know him?
Huh?
Mr. English?
Mr. English. Who's that?
He's one of a gentleman who has a channel, 2 YouTube channels. He comes here.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
James English.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah. He's nice to me too.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I know him. Yeah, Utah Defender.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I talked to him. I haven't seen him for a while, but yeah.
I haven't seen him in a while either. Yeah.
Oh, is he okay?
I assume. Yeah, I've seen things that he's. I've seen him, publishing new things, but yeah, I haven't seen him in a while.
I hope he's healthy. He's a little bit older, so kind of worried.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your question though? You say.
Yeah. Your salary.
Oh my. No,
I have, but I have to. But it's.
Christopher.
But it's one of those questions that I have, like actually, and it's not just like I didn't just decide right here on the spot. It's actually one of those questions that whenever I go around to different cities that I do ask. Sir, would you like to volunteer what your salary is up here? Because it is public record.
It is public record.
Yeah,
We
so
just
if
don't
you
want
look
to talk.
to Transparency Utah, have you ever been there? Seen that? That's where you can see it all. So transparentutah.gov, I think is what it is.
I know, but I'm not trying to I was just trying to get the easy straight, like full cooperation and good report on Farmington and so y'all aren't gonna do it?
We'll just point you to the website where you can see
It's
it.
just so
Transparent
weird.
Utah.
To search it I need something that works.
Oh, you okay?
Yep. I gotta put on the gloves. Getting uncooperative in here. Alright, so
It's really easy to go. You can search any city.
No,
you can
I get
search,
it. I get it.
So yeah, it's just an uncomfortable conversation to get it.
Well, but it shouldn't be though, because there should be transparency.
There is no transparency.
Well, I know,
Go look it up.
but
Why do you want us to saying it in front of your camera? Just for curious.
because I've always had a policy that if I have to go find it, then I publish it.
If you have to find it.
If I have to find it, then I have to publish it.
What if you actually cameraing it, so you just find it from a library computer and then you just camera filming it? How about that? That would be the same thing.
Yeah. It's just not though. It's just I normally it's and I'll put it this way. It's about I will say it's probably about somewhere between 60 to 75% will generally, you know, tell me whenever I ask, because because it is a matter of transparency without having to, you know, go an extra mile looking for it. And obviously, I mean, I'm a journalist, so you know, grammar requests, public record requests. It's not. I'm not a stranger to it, but it kind of, you know, whenever I'm being made to go the extra mile when it could just be easily told. I'll put it this way: Brigham told me a salary.
Yeah,
Brigham told me. I mean, Brigham told me he makes. I think he said 180,000.
It is the largest thing he gets from here. So yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm not one of those bottom people here, so it's really embarrassing me saying it. But
you've been here for 7 years, and then you also have the good benefits. So I mean that recompensates for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you know what I'm saying. Like if your body asks you how much, hey dude, how much you make your YouTube, will you be feeling comfortable with that? It's kind of attractive. Just please understand.
Yeah, because somebody could, when they could easily look up the analytics online. In fact, they have sites where you can put in the YouTube channel, and it configures based on how many people, like what their views are, like what their, you know, what their monthly pay is off their channel. And so, keeping that in mind, you know, it's not a big deal to me. I mean, and granted, I lost access to my bigger channel. I had a lot larger channel that I lost access to thanks to two-factor. I hate two-factor. I freaking hate two-factor. But yeah, so I had to start a new one, and it's just, you know, it's monetized, but it's not, you know, a very large channel yet. But
well, we're not trying to be uncooperative, and obviously.
Well, I know, but see, but I know, but I don't. See, I've got the book right here.
Point you to the site, and you can go and you look up. It'll download all the city salaries, and you can go through it.
Right.
So that might
Well,
be better for you, because then you can just see them all in one spot.
So Transparency Utah shows every city.
Yep. Every city, every county, every government entity. Transparent.utah.gov.
Transparent.utah.gov.
Yeah, is that it? In fact, I could even. Yep, and that I honestly think you would probably like that better than this.
I would, but it would.
You can see a history of pay. You can see.
But it shows up. But it.
Every city, you can search by title. It's got a lot of functionality to it.
And I'll definitely do that. But I still like to see cooperation with public employees, and you know that's just a way to just double check and.
Cooperating, but I also think it's good to respect people's wishes and boundaries, and personal feelings.
Yeah.
So we're not preventing you from getting the information. And
it's funny. I've asked like multiple times, like many cities, to do the same thing whenever the shoe was on the other foot, and they don't have that same, you know, they don't view it the same way. It's kind of almost like a Oh, many of them. Well, I mean, Ogden, North Ogden, South Ogden, Clearfield, Layton, freaking Salt Lake City, Centerville. I mean, a lot of the.
Centerville too.
How
was your experience with other cities? Just for curiosity.
Well,
we don't usually go to other cities in general, so I'm just curious.
If I remember, I don't think I actually went to City Hall that day. Whenever I was passing through Centerville, I think I actually just went by the police department.
Oh, okay.
And
downstairs basement.
Been to Sunset and had a sit down with the chief of police over there, and in fact, the chief of police there gave me my get out of jail free card.
Oh wow! That's a pretty cool. I want to see that too.
Yeah, that's my
Police.
That's a
keep
way
that
cool.
keep that in my pocket all the time. Gave me some
That's a
some
cool
business
token.
cards and
That
and
was
and
nice
that
of you. That's
and
cool. I like it.
and I truly I believe that is a get out of jail free card. Let's see.
In fact, are you okay
Yeah,
if
no,
I
go
pull it
ahead.
up
Go
here?
ahead.
and
Go
you
ahead.
can-
I'm fine. I'm fine.
Yeah,
I'll just show you here, and then you can see it. How about that?
yeah, definitely.
Just to show you if you want to be cooperative.
So what is your name?
My name's Levi Ball, so I'm.
Levi Ball. So we're gonna put in Levi Ball, right?
You can. You really can. You want it?
He is
Sure.
my future supervisor.
Okay.
So I'm the deputy finance director, and you can see I used to work for Kaysville City.
Yeah.
And way back when, I worked at the state of Utah as a staff auditor there. So let's see. I don't get on this all that often, so I'm trying to. You can search. So that's searching for name, and look at that. It pulls up past wages.
Yeah. Oh, and the benefits are nice over here. Well, I guess
Yeah,
that's
this is
Kaysville.
and
Yeah.
I started within the last year, so I guess it's not. It will be shortly reflected on here. But
Now benefits. When it says benefits right there,
yeah.
obviously that would include insurance. But what else would
So that
come
includes
into?
retirement. So we're all the cities and counties are part of the Utah retirement system.
Okay.
So whatever we pay to be part of that.
They do like a match. Do they do a even match, or is it like a percentage match? Or
So
is
the
it
retirement system has defined benefits depending on what tier you're in and the cost and whether you're a police or fire or public employee. And then each city can also determine if they want to do anything in addition to that, like a match. So here at Farmington, we do a 2% 401k match.
2%. It doesn't sound like much, but it's it probably builds over time. I would imagine, huh?
Yeah, and then in addition to the match, you get a 1%. So you get 1% automatically 401k, and then you can get another 2%. So 3 total for.
Interesting.
And
Okay.
it's a little more for exempt employees. So I think for exempt it can be up to 5% total kind of thing. So all that is baked into these. And again, every city does it different, but retirement, your all your insurance costs, any employer paid kind of life insurance, all that stuff is kind of baked into that number. So, and it varies by city. So you can even look. So if we go back here.
Anybody. Oh, that is really neat.
That's
so
why I said you'd like this better than talking to us.
That is, yeah.
You can go home and do all the research you want and download it. So even here, if you look, you can go to employee compensation. You can just search highest paid employees. You can search any city you want.
And it's got the downloader.
You can
Wow.
download it. You can do a pivot table. You can do whatever you want with it.
Yeah.
Pick a city or any organization, really, government entity in Utah. So I don't know. You could just do like let's search Farmington. You pick a year. Now we operate on a fiscal year.
Sure.
So you got to keep that in mind. But there you go.
Incredible.
And there's all that. You can kind of go through. So hopefully that satisfies your
Absolutely,
interest.
that does. Yeah, that's really interesting.
As cooperating.
I'm going to mark you as cooperative now. Yes. So actually, and let me see. I might actually have some. You say you're the finance. What is your
I'm the
position?
assistant finance director.
You're the assistant finance director. Okay. So I've got a questionnaire here for different people and financial budget officials. So
You got a whole printout here.
I do, and it's kind of a to get different answers from different cities, and I've got several of these in the car. So can you provide a complete accounting of taxpayer funds spent defending or settling civil rights lawsuits in the past 5 years?
Yeah, we could pull that. I don't know that off the top of my head. but I think we could definitely pull that. We'll outsource to defenders, and our city attorney will work on stuff, and I'm sure we can come up with a cost for what we've paid legal defense.
Mm-hmm. And
Defenders
settlements
we've
and all
paid,
that.
Law firms we've paid, and settlements we've had to pay, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Cool. So I would need to do a grammar request for that. then,
Probably, that
obviously.
might take a little bit of work to compile, and a grammar request would probably be the best way to get that, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what percentage, and let me write that down. So, yes, grandma. What percentage of discretionary spending is subject to meaningful public review before appropriation?
What percentage? Can you read that again?
Yeah, what percentage of discretionary spending is subject to meaningful public review before appropriation?
I mean, we do public hearings before every budget, before the budget's adopted, it's posted. I guess what your definition of meaningful public review is, I think we try our best to.
Sure.
It's funny, we go through truth and taxation, which is increasing property taxes occasionally. We're not this year, but, and people come out to that and they say, how can, we didn't know about this, and it's like, well, we've had lots of public meetings about it, and so part of that's on the residents to,
Right.
be involved and know, and we try our best to announce it.
Now,
I think we actually do a really good job with like our Facebook page.
Yeah.
We had a budget meeting just this week where we adopted our tentative budget, and it was posted on the Facebook page, like, here's the agenda, come out to the meeting.
and what
So I think we
what
do a
days
good
are your
job.
meetings?
Tuesdays, so it's the first and third Tuesday of the month.
Okay.
So twice a month.
All
and
right.
And there's some months where it's only once a month, like for December, I think they'll probably do one, and maybe like July they'll do one. But it's all posted online ahead of time, all the set dates we're going to have meetings. And so,
And do you happen to know off the top of your head what percentage of funding comes into the city through threats, violence, or coercion?
say that again? Violence?
No, like what percentage of like funding comes into the city through threats, violence, or coercion?
Funding coming into the city for threats?
Yeah,
violence?
from threats, violence, or coercion.
None that I know of.
None.
Like, we're threatening?
Well, yeah, like if
context?
somebody doesn't pay, this will happen. Almost like I guess technically, if you think about it, anybody that's paying taxes, it's technically under threats.
So our big revenue sources
Our tickets.
sales tax.
Yeah.
No, not tickets. Not even, yeah, sales tax, which we don't do the collections there, so we're not like coercing or threatening people. People just pay their sales tax when they buy goods. The second biggest is property taxes. That's collected, through the county, and so that's not really part of our.
The county does that, and it's just not the city.
The county does that, collects that. I guess below that, you could look at utility payments. And so.
And if you don't pay this, we'll cut it off, and
that's just part, you
That's
don't
just-
pay for a service, then why should you get the service?
I agree. Yeah, I know.
Threaten people.
Yeah, I know. I was having this discussion with somebody actually yesterday about the if something's secured. Obviously, if you don't pay your bill, you're gonna lose it. But
Yeah. So
let me see.
how much do we get from threatening people? I would say none.
None.
Yeah. I think we do a great job of working with people. If you can't pay your water bill, in fact, our mayor donates a chunk of his, for his weight. On the council, you get a small stipend, council members and the mayor, and he donates his to a fund to help people pay their utility bills. So it kind of goes into a
Yeah.
And then if we have people that are really struggling, we can use that money to help them.
So obviously, he makes his money to get by off of his regular job, and not to.
So maybe your question should be, how much are we losing by not threatening people, right?
Right. Well, okay. I got a couple more questions. How do you justify the systematic underfunding of transparency initiatives while funding expanded enforcement mechanisms?
The systematic underfunding? of transparency mechanisms
Yes.
while increasing the pay for law enforcement.
For
right?
enforcement mechanisms.
That's a. Well,
That's a tough one.
I don't think we do that, to be quite honest with you.
Well, and you know, in all fairness, you may not. You know,
That's a
these
pretty
are
thought out questions. there.
these are pretty hypercritical questions
Yeah. I think-
that.
I mean, I think I showed you in terms of transparency.
You did.
I just showed you a really awesome site.
Yeah.
Transparency. I think
You did.
We
You-
follow all the transparency rules.
And
I
yeah,
think
and
we
I'm
go
not being
above and
hypercritical.
beyond. Yeah.
I'm just simply going down the list.
You're
you
going,
know?
I'm trying to answer it the best I can.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate it.
Yeah.
You're. I mean, this is great cooperation. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
What safeguards prevent officials from directing contracts to entities where they have undisclosed financial interest?
That's a great question. We have a procurement policy that we've adopted as a city. It requires that we get multiple bids, to prevent a situation where maybe a department head has a buddy who does concrete work and slips him a deal on some, you have to get multiple bids. If it's a large enough contract value, it has to go through a formal bidding process. And so I think there are definitely
Awesome.
safeguards in place for that. Yeah.
And can you guarantee that no one on this payroll is receiving double compensation through private contracts or nepotism?
Yeah, I think we can guarantee that. Yeah.
Um, let's see. Ooh, this is a tough one. Would you stake your professional license on the claim that no financial improprieties exist within this department's operations?
100%.
100%.
Absolutely. Yeah.
He's got that one under control. Why does your budget allocate substantially more for legal defense of misconduct than for preventing constitutional violations?
Do you know that it does?
I
Have you
don't.
looked
I
at our
need
budget?
to actually do a grant request on the budget. So I'm going to say NA, I need to get
You
the...
don't even need to do grammar. You can look at our site. We just adopted our tentative budget, and you can check it out and see what it looks like. If you go to our Farmington, website and look at agendas, the most recent one was with a budget.
Okay.
Check that out.
And I don't think this is really going to be a good one right here. Apply for y'all. It's talking about return on investment for surveillance technologies. Do y'all invest in surveillance technologies over here?
I mean, we have cameras at some buildings.
Yeah.
I guess if you consider that investing in, yeah.
You know, it's funny about the cameras because so many people, even in like city halls and all that, will freak out about a camera.
Mm-hmm.
But there's cameras everywhere we go nowadays.
Yeah.
You can't walk in anywhere without being on camera.
Yeah.
Everything is on
You can't-
film.
You can't blame a business for wanting to protect their property and
Exactly.
at least review and see if there's damage done. Yeah.
Well, final question. What percentage of this department's budget is allocated to improving citizen access to services versus internal administrative functions?
People's access to improving.
Hey,
Cooper, how you doing?
Open the door for you.
I'm trying to. Trying to think how that would apply to our budget. Can you read again? What percentage? Hey, Cooper.
What percentage of this department's budget is allocated to improving citizen access to services versus internal administrative functions?
Our department specifically, and most of the city, the whole is a service. We're a service organization. Our biggest expense is personnel costs and serving the community and having these conversations.
Right.
So, what percentage of our budget is allocated to doing that? I think you could argue that most of our budget is that. I mean, that's what we do. We're a
Sure.
service organization. We try to interact with the community, and we try to pay people well so that we have good customer service. And I think we have great customer service here.
Awesome. Man, I appreciate your
Yeah.
your
Trying to be helpful.
Yeah, and I just thought of another one right here on the spot that I need to add to this list. But if a city, like if y'all city has an excess left over at the end of the fiscal year,
Yeah.
rolling into the next one, what happens to that money? Is it, does it,
So it depends on what fund you're talking. I mean, in any fund, I guess, any excess will just go into the fund balance.
like the general fund will
The
say?
general fund. We'll talk about the general fund. If we budget, we're gonna pay X amount of dollars during the year, and we come in under budget. You know, we saved a little money. That excess goes into the fund balance, and it's part of our savings, if you will, cash reserve for
Yeah.
future years. And you know what? Most years we actually budget to dip into that, you know, fund balance, as instead of doing like a property tax increase, we might say we have a large capital purchase. It's a one-time thing. Let's just use our cash reserves, our savings from prior years. Let's pay for that one-time thing with that. And we try to do a lot of that this year. You know, we're not doing a property tax increase this year. So
Sure.
you gotta get creative, but to answer your question, it rolls into the cash reserve and the fund balance and can
Awesome.
be used in the future.
Awesome, man. Well, hey, I appreciate your
Yeah.
help, your honesty, your cooperation right there, Levi. Levi, what was it again?
Ball.
Ball.
Levi Ball.
Got it. You got a card over here?
I
Or-
don't.
you
Like
don't?
I said, I started here with him. I don't have a card yet. I need to get some
I got some ordered myself. So
What was
yeah.
your name?
My name's Don, and We the People News.
We the people.
We the People
Okay.
News. WTPnews.org. I actually need to update and put some new articles on there. I've got the YouTube has stayed updated, and I think it's probably been about a week since I've updated a new article on there.
Yeah.
But I cover a lot of public interest stories, and yeah.
Nice. We the people news. Don.
We the
Okay.
People News.
Well,
Yep, WTPnews.org.
are these yours? I don't know. If
Yes, sir.
No, don't forget your gloves.
Oh yeah, gotta have the gloves. Hey, things could get never know when things could
Glad
get
you
out of
have to
hand.
use 'em.
Absolutely. Hey, I don't know if you noticed this, but that thing follows me around. It's my cameraman.
You got some good
How
equipment
come
there.
that does that? Do you have a
Is it that
It's
thing on your chest?
no, it's just locked onto my head, and it
Person?
it just follows me. Yeah,
Is it expensive?
$140, $150. No, it's not.
It's cheaper than I would have thought.
Yeah, and it always keeps the phone level. It can, go horizontal or vertically, and it will always, I can click that trigger right there, aim it at something, and no matter what way it's always going to stay locked on that and perfectly level.
Can I find that from Amazon?
You can.
Okay.
Yes, it's called DJI.
1 second, write it down. DJI.
DJI, yep. And I would type in DJI mobile. That's the 6 right there. I think they might have come out with the 7 now.
Yeah.
But it's neat because it'll actually telescope up. Like if I didn't have a tripod, it can telescope and
My husband does he fixes the furniture, and so he likes making a video with it too. So I think that's actually a good idea.
it is, and it comes with that right there, a little tripod that, if I didn't have it in that, I always keep this thing screwed in the bottom, and I basically use it as a handle, and then, I can, put it right there, and
Okay, yeah, I'll tell my husband about that.
It's-
That sounds like a great idea.
to me, once I got the first one,
Yeah.
it was a must-have. Like I bought the DJI 3, the Mobile 3, and every time they've come out with a new one, I've got it. I got the 4, I got the 5, now I got the 6. Oh yeah.
You got the 6 now?
This is 6 now, yeah. Well, and I'll tell you another thing. If you get one of these,
Yeah.
they got the DJI refresh plan. It's basically insurance.
Oh.
It's I cannot stress it. Yes, so it's either $6 or $9 for a year, and it gives you 2 free replacements. So if something wears out on the motor, or if you drop it, or if anything happens, you just do a claim and send it off, and they'll send you another one. You get up to 2 replacements over the course of the year for that $6 or $9 one-time
You
fee.
should post this and tag them, and maybe your good review will give you a free
Exactly.
Oh, you
Well,
You're a walk-in review.
this is actually I had to replace it once this year already, so I still have one more replacement.
Yeah.
I spilled Coke on it at the gas station and kind of, it just didn't work right after that. But they will. You kind of, they're pretty durable, but I mean, depending on how rough you are with it, they will wear out. I mean, the motors will kind of. It's the top of the line as far as gimbals go.
That's good to know, yeah.
But yeah, it's
Yeah. Oh, I'll tell my husband about it. That's a great idea.
yes, absolutely. Well, and what was your name?
Nade?
Nade.
Uh-huh.
Nice to meet you, Nade. I'm Don.
Two.
Nice to meet you, Levi.
Nice to meet
And you, young lady, Denise. I think I asked you yesterday, and I'm really bad at names. It's always been something that I've been really bad at.
It's always
So
hard.
I got to do some type of association to.
Yeah, you gotta think of like an image or something to associate it with.
Exactly.
So, what city are you gonna head after this?
Yeah, where are
one?
you going next?
So actually, I wanted to go and meet the new police chief over
okay.
here, and
I don't know if he's available.
he's not.
He might be.
Do you want me to check?
Not available.
He's
Oh,
not.
he's not.
He's not available today, but if there's questions, I'm his second in command. I could talk to you.
You're second in command? Okay. And you are Lieutenant Cooper.
Yes.
All right. So actually, I've got some questions for law enforcement officials. So is your oath to the Constitution just words you recited, or do you actually understand the rights you're obligated to protect right now? These are kind of hypercritical questions. I'm not going to lie, but they're basically. And I'm just reading down the list, so I'm not. This is just kind of to see
Yeah.
what the response is by the city.
Yeah. No, I do. I do understand. I have a copy of the Constitution right on my desk.
Do you?
Mm-hmm.
It's great to hear.
Oh,
I'm a
yeah.
Marine Corps veteran, so the Constitution is very important to me. That's one of the reasons why I got into doing this is to protect my daughter's generation,
yeah.
my kids' generation.
Yeah. Well,
Because
almost half our staff are veterans from Marine Corps, Army, Air Force.
awesome. Were
Yeah.
you in? one of the Marines?
Nope. This is the only service I've done.
Got you.
Yeah.
How long you been in?
15 years.
15.
Yeah.
Been in Farmington all this time,
Yes.
or? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
This whole time. Oh yeah.
So then you're probably slotted to take the throne next if that opens up then, huh?
Not in my plan, but I'm happy where I'm at.
Got you.
I got 5 more years and I can retire.
Now, do you like being a lieutenant more than being? Because a lot of times when extra responsibility comes, for example, an officer gets promoted to sergeant, the pay difference in sergeant and where they were is not enough really to, like, they had more fun. Their days were more enjoyable when they were a patrolman than when they got the extra responsibility of.
There's a lot of truth to that.
So how is life as a lieutenant? Is it
It's not police work.
it's not?
It's personnel and budget and policy and procedure and yeah.
Got you. Okay.
Yep. So I do miss police work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. So that's not going to apply right there. That's basically if non-consensual contact is made. So, okay, this is a good one. How does your department ensure that officers do not abuse access to law enforcement databases to investigate critics or activists?
Yeah. So there are strict procedures that they have to abide by that go by BCI standards. BCI holds us to a standard. They audit us, and within our policy as well, that whenever if we're going to run someone, whether it's just local files and driver's license, basic information to more in-depth info like criminal history, they need to be investigating that person as a part of a legitimate case
Okay.
they're involved in.
Okay.
So when they go into the BCI database to pull info like that, they always have to reference a case number and whether it's a
And then they got to
criminal
have probable cause, some type of an investigation,
Yeah.
probable cause, or something of that
Yeah,
nature.
exactly.
See, it's funny because I actually that one actually strikes home for me because I actually I'm an author. I'm a journalist and an author, and I came out here to finish my book called American Injustice, and as soon as I got out here, police department back in Mississippi. I found out through grammar request, through a public records request, that a captain over there had run illegal interstate surveillance on me. Actually knew my address really before I knew my address. The only document I had signed was I had just signed the lease with the landlord. I had not given my address out to anybody, didn't give it out to any business. And long story short, they're basically trying to stop the book from being published because it's basically an expose of 8 years of just heinous public corruption that implicates people over there. And what happened was my address got sent to the Layton Police Department with lies by them, like straight up defamatory information in the email. And unfortunately, the Layton Police Department, a lieutenant over there, took that information and sent it out, disseminated it out to 139 law enforcement officers, with my name and my address, and it's turned into a big ordeal. I didn't deserve any of that happening, and it was I guess it's a learning lesson, not to just so easily take information like that and send it out. But yeah, that's a very important one to me as far as access to law enforcement databases to investigate critics or activists. Because
for us to do that, you have to be the subject of an investigation.
Sure.
And an investigation points to a crime, right?
Right.
And so, there has to be some allegation or report of a crime or evidence that there's been a crime. And then, that research into that individual who's the subject of that investigation, it's legitimate at that point if it supports a legitimate law enforcement purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Public safety, a crime that occurred, is about to occur, is occurring, that type of thing.
Got you.
So, merely coming in here, asking questions, recording me, that's not a crime.
Right.
So I don't have any concern or reason to run your information
Right.
and do an investigation.
Reasonable articulable suspicion.
Uh-huh.
A crime was committed, being committed, or is about to be committed.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Can you recall any time that an officer in your department was terminated specifically for violating someone's constitutional rights?
Nope,
No?
I cannot. Not in my time. 15 years and even, just knowledge of things that happened in the recent years before I even came here. I'm not aware of that ever happening here. We were one of the first of a small group of agencies. I don't know about statewide, but I can tell you in Davis County to start using body cams back in 2011.
I believe body cams are very important. And in fact, that's that was actually one of the next questions was about the body cam, which was why do your body cams seem to malfunction primarily during incidents where misconduct is alleged? Now, and that's not saying that's like as far as like alleging anything of the Farmington Police Department. That's basically a, in the list of questions right here. But that's I've seen firsthand from other departments. Like where audio got muted, body cam didn't save out, things of that nature. And,
with body cam, there's even state law that governs the use of body cam. There's stuff that affects our policy. There are times when officers are legally allowed to mute their camera. Typically, that is in a scenario where they're conferring and having discussion with a supervisor.
They're going to the bathroom, or they're
yes,
obvious,
stuff like that. But yeah, they might be in the middle of the call, and it's time to have a discussion with the sergeant on what's happening, course of action, certain things, investigative strategies and stuff that we could mute as those discussions are made, and including any private information, in terms of what you're able to grandma request, an open computer monitor with social security number and things like that, or any discussion that there would be privileged information or sensitive information, but the vast majority of the time our officers have their body cams on, and very frequently, especially with a very brief conversation with the sergeant. Now, if it's stepping aside with the sergeant to discuss policy on an incident, whether the elements of the crime have been met, if an additional supervisor needs to be notified, just some of those conversations we're able to mute. But whenever we are conducting our investigation, having that contact with the citizen, that needs to be recording audio, video, and everything. In critical incidents, once the officers that are involved in that initial critical incident are relieved by the protocol teams that show up, by supervisors that show up and now remove them from that scene to separate them, to make sure that their statement is what it is, to make sure that they are processed from an evidence standpoint, just like we would with any citizen. Body cams will be shut off at that point, but their involvement in that critical incident until they're replaced and removed will be on.
Got you. Okay. And I was going to ask you this because there's been some. I've heard a couple of different things, and I think I know the answer to this, but I'm curious. So, a CAD being open, like a laptop in the patrol vehicle.
Yeah.
If that's open, and because obviously the out in public, there's no expectation of privacy in public. Anything that the eyes can see, the camera can see. If a CAD is left open, and a photographer or a videographer or whatever happens to film that computer screen through the window, that doesn't fall back on the journalist, the photographer, because it was out in public. That would more or less be the officer for leaving it unsecured, correct?
Yeah, anyone that has BCI access and can run things like on their CAD, like you're saying on the laptop, they're under a responsibility to protect information, right? Whether that's locking their screen, closing the screen, that information should not be left viewable to the public.
But a journalist couldn't or a photographer couldn't be criminally charged, basically, if they happen to film what was on
Not that
the
I'm aware
screen.
of. No, not that I'm aware of.
Okay. So had somebody
Now,
try to
if-
tell me, that could be the case, and I, was
if
like,
you
no,
were
that doesn't
to
sound
publish
right.
that information, or put it out there, there could be a potential of a criminal violation there. And I say potential because, I can't tell you off the top of my head a criminal code to look up that would apply under. But there could be, if, like, say you video record that officer's vehicle and he left your information pulled up, your name, address, birthday, phone number, social security number, whatever is visible, right? And
I could see if the person that filmed it actually used that information, like if they filmed, well, and I guess, yeah, I mean, they shouldn't put anybody else's social security number out there, but I mean, that's a sticky, area, because I mean, on one hand you've got, what's out in public is, like what's left out. Obviously, there would be some type of responsibility that should fall back on the officer for leaving it
yeah,
unobscured.
and there could be, for example, I get pulled over in whatever city, and you're there with your camera, and that officer runs my info and leaves his screen up, and leaves his vehicle, and then you approach and grab that information because it's glaring right there on the screen. That's a responsibility that can fall back on the officer, according to BCI standards, right? And depending on the agency policy. But as far as criminal action, I say there could be potential if you were to take, Lieutenant Cooper's name, here's his address, his birth date, his social security number. I've got this information, and here it is public on my YouTube channel or my blog or whatever. Then there could be, a criminal element there, potentially. Again, I can't cite a code to reference you to there, but the mere fact that an officer leaves that information up and visible in the public place, it's incumbent upon them to keep that information guarded and private.
Got you. Now you're doing great with all this so far, and I'm hoping to God you bat 1,000 right here for me. I need you to pull this one off for me.
Oh boy.
This is gonna take some deep thinking, and
Okay.
hopefully not. Hopefully you just rattle it off like that.
Okay.
The First Amendment
Okay.
has got 5 elements.
Okay.
Offers 5 distinct protections in it, and I believe it actually encompasses more than 5. But as far as in the language of the First Amendment,
Yeah.
there are 5 distinct elements.
Yeah.
Can you name those 5 elements?
Oh man, you're taking me back. So freedom of speech, freedom of religion,
Yeah,
freedom of the press,
yeah,
the right to assemble,
yeah.
the right to petition the
Oh
government.
man, good job on that one, man. Yeah, that's. You know how many officers literally duck and dodge? I asked that question because it's very important.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you swear an oath to protect and defend the Constitution, but how do you actually protect and defend the Constitution if you don't know it?
Yeah.
The First Amendment, the 5 elements are very important, and I always like to ask that question whenever and it's not to make somebody look horrible at all. It's to, if they don't know it,
Yeah.
to educate them on it. But then the ones that basically say "screw you, man," and just take off and run, okay, well they just made themselves look horrible.
Yeah.
Right there and doing that. But it's something that I would say honestly, like that's a rare, like you're honestly one of the first ones that's ever just rattled off all 5 like that.
Well, I'll tell you what. And so in our field training manual, for brand new officers being trained, one of the matrices that we grade them under is constitutional and civil rights. And so it's important, you know, but there's a reason why I have a copy of the Constitution on my desk.
And if they're deficient in an area, so if they score low in that, what happens?
So typically what the training officer will do, if there's a certain area that they showed deficiency in, is they are going to have to study it and then be tested on that.
Gotcha.
The test could be a verbal test like this. It could be a written test. It could be an assignment. Hey, over your weekend, study the 4th, the 5th, 6th Amendment, whatever it is, and come back and tell me what you learned.
I think the 4th, particularly in law enforcement, I think your biggest are going to be just automatically is going to be your 1st, 2nd, and 4th are probably going to be the 3 biggest ones, because the 6th gets into court once after
once charges are filed.
8th is going to get into punishment and all that, you know, after charges are filed.
Yeah.
You know, I think the 1st, the 2nd, the 4th,
is a big one for us.
and the 5th, yeah, the 1st, yeah. So yeah, speaking of 5th, so that was actually whenever I got down here to this area or up here, I'd never done a silent audit, but I'd seen them and I wanted to do a silent, because it's honestly, it's like really the most non-confrontational type of stress testing a right. And so got a YouTube video outside of the Zion's Bank in Layton. I don't know if that one got past you and you saw it. I know it went all around Layton, but they actually did a good job. Like, and I congratulated them for it. You know, the only issue, you know, I got the body cam and the 911 call and all that. The only issue was an officer saying on body cam walking into the bank, as well as telling the bank people that I was there trying to get them to violate my rights or whatever. That's not the case at all. I want to see, you know, them handle it correctly, because, you know, I don't call out, you know, just the bad. No, I like to promote the good, you know, like I did right there. And I think he just misread it and probably had bad experiences with people in the past. But I mean, still overall, it was very professional. But yeah, it's that 5th Amendment. Yeah, the silent audit was actually you know, intriguing. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh no,
Staying silent.
Oh yeah, I'll tell you. You know, our police department. You know, we like to be transparent.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not by any means threatened by this. You know, I think it's important that we know what we're talking about.
Yeah, and it's good for the public to see as well. You know, and that's a good thing. You know, I think that helps build trust and rapport. And have your officers over here been stress tested on rights a lot? Like, I think it's, you know, I sat down with the chief of police over at Sunset, and I think it's a good thing to see how certain situations are handled.
Yeah.
You know, because it's better for it to be in something, you know, a situation that's basically tested than to be in a live situation and, you know, make a mistake. You know, have y'all had auditors come over here and
we have quite a bit. We have quite a bit, and you know, I think we've done an excellent job.
Sure.
I mean, our guys are well trained. You know, we had a training just yesterday with one of the prosecutors specific to 4th Amendment. Also touched on some 5th and 6th Amendment issues, but we train a lot. We cover a lot of topics. You know, and the big thing with our agency is that professionalism and having good trust and rapport with the public.
I think, you know, from what I've seen, the limited bit that I've seen so far, I believe that y'all have a good chief in there now. I believe that y'all had some issues under the old one that left. There's, you know, and that's just from I never met the guy, but just from, you know, seeing certain things, I guess, published online or whatever. I think that it sounds like you have a good chief in there now.
Chief Anderson's awesome. You know, Chief Johnson was awesome too. I'll be honest. The guy was a great leader and he cared. You know, personalities are always different, right? But we have great leadership here, and we have a great department, and I'm proud of the work we do. You know, we put an emphasis on protecting rights. You know, we're not out here to trample on anyone's constitutional rights. We're out here to protect them, and part of that is being well educated and trained well, so that when we are encountering situations or conducting investigations, that they're done by the book and that they're above board, well above board. And so I can say that with complete competence and confidence that we have that. I'm proud of it.
So I'm going to leave you with one last question, and that's to address because there has been obviously negative press that's gone out that has it's in regards to Chase Out, and what do you have to say about the claims that body camera footage was manipulated?
Well, I can tell you that's absolutely not true. I don't know where those claims come from, but that investigation is handled by the protocol team, the county protocol team. You know, they're the ones that processed all the evidence, including the body cam. And so I'd have to defer to them on that, but I can tell you from.
And I don't have all the details. I've heard you know, there have been people that have done, you know, independent investigate, you know, checks into it. Now, are they professional? Like, do they have, you know, the professional technical skill?
Where did they get that information? You know, was it, you know, I mean, to know the answers like that would require looking at those devices and that video from a forensic standpoint, with proper software, and being able to look at that, right? And so, I don't know why that information's out there or why that's believed, but you know, the evidence is there, and it's been reviewed and is in the review process, and so, but I have complete confidence in the integrity of that investigation, including the handling of digital evidence as well. So, but that's all I can really speak to.
No, I figured I knew that was going to be. It was going to be, you know. I appreciate you answering even that, because I know that's probably one of those real touchy areas that you got. You know, it's. I just didn't know, you know, if you had anything in regards to, you know, the claims that were made. Not to actually speak directly on the case, but you know, anything as to those claims that were made.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No,
thank you so much for your time, Lieutenant Cooper.
Yeah.
And
you say you have a YouTube channel?
Yeah, We the People News.
We the People News. Okay.
We the People News.
I actually haven't seen it or heard of that one. So.
Yeah, it's actually a fairly new one. I moved over here or to the area back at the beginning of February, and I lost access to my old channel, which was larger because of two-factor. You know, I cannot stand two-factor, man. So I started this one up, and it's kind of been, you know, slow to grow, but I've gone down to I've gone to Ogden, just done some cop watching, you know, cover Ogden nightlife, gone to Salt Lake City, West Valley, just all around, just covering just different things. My style is not like.
Cooper, Reagan wants to talk to you, the city manager.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'll talk.
Yeah, my style is not to be confrontational
Yeah, no,
and
you're
provocative. It's really, you know, yeah.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Hey, I appreciate it.
Yeah, you bet, man. Have a
Thank you,
good
sir.
one. You bet.